So I want to talk about something that has recently come up from personal experience, and I really felt like I could share something about it. In 30 years of listening to people's stories regarding love, sex, relationships, their bodies, I really hear a lot from both sides in terms of what works and what doesn't work, and from personal experience even. Lately, I've been seeing a lot of people more or less approach me on a personal level where it's, hello, my name is, and practically have their dick in their hands when they're saying it, in terms of assuming that very little offering of getting to know you, very little romance, just sort of this impression that life is sort of a porn scene, and basically somehow everybody is ready to hand themselves over on a platter. I always equate this type of love style as the food court guys who hand the chicken on the stick in the food courts at the mall. Does it really make you want to eat it? Probably not. I think that when it comes to love and sex, even though people may be in a hookup mindset, that basically there still needs to be a bit of a style or pizzazz to that, even if it's just going to be a surface level encounter. But even more so, if you're really looking for love or a real relationship or somebody who's going to look at you beyond just a body part and a hookup, that there's actually an art form to getting someone's attention, being taken seriously, or not being written off, or just, in my mind, repulsing somebody because they seem so easy to have that anybody could have gotten that place. It doesn't make anybody feel special. And so that's one of the things I've worked on with people over the years is, depending on the age group, and I know this can be generational, but I'm 51, and I know that what I did in my 20s and 30s might be different than people in their 20s and 30s today. But I really do think that it's important for people to actually think about what they're looking for and act appropriately to that. Because if it's just about a hookup and nothing more, especially if it's on Tinder, that's kind of what people would expect. But if you're actually in real life trying to have a relationship or some seriousness or even just some depth to your encounter, then perhaps the style of how to do that or approach that really makes all the difference. I really do think that porn is affecting some men in terms of how they're approaching life. The reality is sort of being lost in terms of what women like or want. We are not just meant to be fucked and that's it and move on. I do think that anybody of value doesn't just give themselves away so easily. I know for myself, I always wanted what no one else could have, or I worked a little bit for it, meaning I got to know the person, because then when I actually was with them, it felt like something more meaningful was won. So if you're one of those people who needs a little help in this department, or you feel like you're not getting the responses back, whether it's in an online dating ad, whether it's just in person once you've met, because a lot of people won't even bother giving the response of what didn't work, right? A lot of people just move on or they ghost people. I've never been ghosted, but I've heard a lot of stories about that. I do think that people skip the part of giving the feedback, which could make all the difference in getting a different response if you're really looking for something more meaningful. So if you're interested in that, I do help people with that as a sexpert for 30 years. But knowing women can begin with, or men, just having friends of the opposite sex. I also think that people are very sensitive in these times, that most people are very hypervigilant. They're stressed out to their max. They might be overworked, overtired. I know for me, as a single mom, I'm very selective of who I spend my off time with, because the most valuable thing a single mother has is her time. And so if you really want to be taken as somebody who values that person's time energetically, contributing to something more than just it being about coffee really sets the tone for that. And even no matter whose time it is, that you value it, because everybody could be doing something else these days. So if you're needing a little help in this department, this is one of the areas that I help people with. I have over 30 years experience. Check out my website. I'll be happy to answer any questions. But this is really something that a lot of people forget, the art, and it's supposed to be fun, and it's supposed to be, I mean, you don't want to start out your life telling the story